Hello, everybody. Welcome to NJ Thrive's Small Business Webinars. Today is Tuesday, March 19th. You are attending one of our weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. So welcome. If you are new here, if this is your very first NJ Thrive's webinar that you're attending, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you'll stay with us for many more webinars and for more services. And if you've been attending these and other webinars and have been counseled by us, consulted by us, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. My name is Uzma Sheikh, and I am one of the consultants here at NJSBDC. NJSBDC stands for America's New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network. We are a network, a statewide program powered by the SBA, stands for Small Business Administration, a lot more acronyms that you'll see, and partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with three main things. And those things are no cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, and exclusive small business resources. If you look at the map of the state of New Jersey on the slide, there you will see the counties of New Jersey, and in some counties, there are small SBDC logos. So that's where our regional centers are located. So we have 10 regional centers located in public colleges and universities. And if you ever want to make an appointment in person, go say hi, attend any event in person, then go to njsbdc.com, find out where the location of the regional center is, and make an appointment. All right, if you can see me and hear me properly, please put a 1 in the chat so I know everything is working properly. All right, thank you for the responses. Thank you, thank you. Perfect. And I will also ask everybody, if you'd like, please go in the chat and also put in where you're from, what you do, if you'd like to share your name and the business name, or any idea that you might want to share. Feel free to network in the comments, not the comments, the chat, and let us know. And I always say that you never know who you find, your next supporter, investor, cheerleader. So it's always awesome. All right, I see Ray Hansen, Somerset, New Jersey, score mentor. Michelle from Glen Rock, thank you so much. All right, moving on. So let me go back real quick. We have something to share about March 20th, 2024. So March 20th, literally tomorrow, National Proclamation of the Impact of America's SBDCs on the Success of Our Nation's Small Businesses, SBDC Day. So tomorrow is SBDC Day, and we've celebrated SBDC Day a little early last week with Kelly Brosna, our state director and CEO, and Erica Pearson. And we did do a webinar on that. So if you'd like to know more about that, let us know. And want to watch it, that webinar was recorded. You can go on our website or YouTube channel and check it out. I will also share the link. But happy SBDC Day to everyone attending and all the small businesses in New Jersey and nationwide. It's again, the celebration of all the small businesses and the impact that we have on the economy. All right, so the webinar series is how to register your business with $0 SBC support. We have been doing this since November, I believe, and everyone has been, finding value in this. So we are continuing to do this for all the aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start, grow, and thrive in the state of New Jersey with their business. Agenda, we have a couple of headlines, then we have our presentation, and then Q&A session in the end. These are the headlines. These are just things that are happening in the state of New Jersey and the small business community that we'd like to share with you, things that you should know of, any press releases, any updates, things from our partners, resources. So let me just quickly put them, and I will put them in the chat as well, the links, as soon as I'm done with my introduction. So one of the links here is from DEC, National Association of District Export Councils. We're working for America's Exporters Annual Export Conference. So NADCE, gathering America's export professionals to connect, collaborate, and solve problems together. The conference, held annually in Washington, D.C., brings together distinguished speakers, business leaders, high-ranking U.S. and foreign government officials, exporters, trade service providers, trade promotion agencies. So what is happening? May 13th to 14th, the Mayflower Hotel. Washington, D.C. Address is provided. The agenda is provided. Many more details over here. Feel free to check it out on your own time. I will share the links again. And what's the other one? Here we go. Registration open for National Small Business Week Virtual Summit. This is the SBA website. It's a press release. Feel free to check out this website. It's a great resource. There are many tabs that have a lot of valuable information. So registration open for National Small Business Week Virtual Summit. Attendees can participate in educational workshops, network, and learn about federal resources to help them succeed. This is published last week. SBA and SCORE, Mentors to America's Small Businesses and resource partner of the SBA. This will be happening from April 30th to May 1st. It's a 2-day online event. Attendance is free of charge, but registration is required. And this is the link. We will share this in the chat again. And the third link is for Kelly Brosna, who was featured in the ROI Influencers List of 2024 Women in Business. So last week we said congratulations to Kelly, but if you ever get a chance to see her, talk to her, interact with her, tell her hi and congratulations. Awesome. Moving on, things to keep in mind, some housekeeping rules that we'd like and invite you to follow. If you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box, not the chat box. So this is, if any questions that you'd like the speaker to address regarding their presentation, put them in the Q&A box. If you'd like to receive the slides that the speaker presents, then complete a brief survey, and you will receive them after you completed the Google Forms. And this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on our YouTube channel as well as our website. Again, link will be shared. All right, so today's guest and speaker, Paul Rinaldi, who is an NJSBDC Small Business Consultant, different face, a new face from our regular speaker series. So Paul, we'd like to welcome you to our network of speakers, NJ Thrives speakers. Please come on here with your audio and video. I will stop sharing and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Ozma. Thanks for the introduction and welcome everyone. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, and today we'll be talking about how to start a business in the state of New Jersey, how to register that. We'll bring you through the entire business registration process. So a couple of things to look at and we'll talk about today is number one, all the different business structures. There are several different business structures that companies can form. We'll look at the formation and the registration process. We'll talk about the New Jersey state regulations and taxes. We'll look about funding and cash management, any additional needs, and then on the next steps would be looking at opportunity and growth. Couple different business structures here. The first one we'll talk about is one called a sole proprietorship. The sole proprietorship is a single owner of a business. There is no difference between the owner of the business and the business itself, hence the term sole proprietorship. In order to do that, you would need to register the trade name for the business with the county clerk's office. It's inexpensive, it's a one-time fee, and it just depends on which county you're in the state of New Jersey. The fees vary somewhere between $65, $75. Again, each county might have a separate fee on that. You'll also need a tax ID, which can be either your social security number or an EIN, Federal Employer Identification Number. We recommend using an EIN number so you're not revealing your social security number to operate the business. You'll also need a personal bank account that's acceptable for use in business. And also you'll have an income from the business is passed through from your business to the personal taxes using a Schedule C on your income tax return. That's actually an important component of that. So again, the income from the business is passed through to the personal income tax return using a Schedule C. The downside to a sole proprietorship is there's no legal separation between the assets of the business and the assets of the owner, and there is no liability protection. Liability protection basically says that typically if a company has liability protection, that The liability of the business, the debts of the business don't pass through to the owner of the business. In a sole proprietorship, that does not happen. Right? We're going to now look at some legal structures. The sole proprietorship technically is not a legal structure. We have a couple different legal structures that we want to look at. The first one is a limited liability company, an LLC, probably one of the most common ones right now. The second one is a corporation. So a couple of things with the limited liability company. In order to register that business, all businesses are registered at the state level. There is no business ever registered at the federal level. Doesn't matter whether you're a major corporation or you're a small business in the state of New Jersey, they're all registered at the state level. In New Jersey, the fee to register a business is $125 plus a $3.50 processing charge if you use either a debit or a credit card, or $1 if you use an e-check. In addition to that, there's a $75 per year charge to maintain that. It's called the annual report, and that gets filed on an annual basis on there. You'll need an EIN number, which is the employer identification number that's assigned to the LLC. You'll also need a separate business bank account, which is required for that. And the owners can choose their taxation method. We'll get into a little more detail on that. There are several different types of LLCs. They're not types, it just depends on how many owners of the business there are. There's a thing called a single member LLC, which from a federal tax standpoint operates the same as a sole proprietorship. The income from the business is passed through from the business over to the owner's personal income tax returns, and that's done on the Schedule C. You can also use a Form 1065, which is for a multi-member LLC, or you can choose to operate as a corporation using the Form 1120. And the advantage is that there is limited liability. And again, limited liability means that the liability of the debts of the business is limited to the investment by the owner. Corporations, little difference on that side. Filing fee for a corporation is actually the same as what it is for a limited liability company on the state of New Jersey. They need to establish bylaws. You have to create a board of directors. You need to have shareholder meetings, and you will need a separate income tax return. And there is the possibility of double taxation at the company level and shareholder level if a dividend is paid. It is also one of the strongest in terms of liability protections. There is a designation in the corporation side. It's called a subchapter S. And what a subchapter S is, it's an additional filing on there. It's filed through a Form 1120S, and that's actually done at the same time as the business registration. And that's where a business chooses to file as an S corporation, which, similar to an LLC and a sole proprietorship, the income from the business is passed through to the owner's personal income tax returns. So the S corporation does that. So you have an advantage on the tax side of that. It's a simpler return. The S corporation also permits for passable income, credits, and deductions and losses to its shareholders. The S corp is also available to small businesses. It has to be 100 or fewer shareholders, and also you can have an estate as one of the shareholders in that business. So those are the caveats with an S corporation. The S corporation, similar to an LLC, the LLCs offer more flexibility than the corporations do with respect to the structure and the distribution of the profits, but there may be tax advantages to the LLC owners that select to file as an S corp status on there. And on the S corp status on that, that changes the way the IRS treats the LLC's income, allowing owners to be paid as an employee. And that's one of the questions we get. If I'm an LLC, can I give myself a paycheck? The way that you would do that is you would choose to file as the S corporation form on there, the Form 1120 on there, thereby reducing your company's operating income and the self-employment taxes. A couple things on the registration side. And this is one of the reasons that we ask you to contact your local small business development center. We will assist you with the processing of the paperwork on there. We suggest not using a third party to file your company's name on there. You should be able to do it by yourself. And again, the small business development centers are available to assist and guide you on that with the formation and registration. and there is no cost to you on this. The only cost is the actual filing fee with the state. We'll also help you with the terminology on there, and you can familiarize yourself with these by going over to the njportal.com, which is the state's website. You'll see on there on how to register a business, and also by visiting the irs.gov. You'll also understand your obligations and legal requirements on there. You need to keep your documents organized and accessible on paper and electronically, and we recommend doing both of those because in essence, this is the birth certificate for the formation of your company. And then you also need to maintain your books and records. What happens now once you form that? So once you form that, you need to also register it. So there are several steps in the business registration process. The first one is the filing of the certificate of formation. The second piece is getting your federal EIN number. And the third one, and this is extremely important, is the registration process. So you form it and then you register it. Those are two separate steps. When we do this online, you'll see that it all flows through together and it's one step after the other after the other. We get some questions sometimes about how long does it take. It's a relatively short application process. It could take an hour, hour and a half, and I always tell my clients, just depends on how many questions that you ask me, and I certainly encourage everyone to ask as many questions as possible because with most businesses or most people forming a business, they're not familiar with this process. So again, ask as many questions as possible on there when speaking with the NJSBDC consultant on there. So we look at the registration on there. Once it's registered, again, all business entities are formed in the state of New Jersey. They have to be registered with the state. There's the link. That is the NJ portal /DOR. That's business registration. And I mentioned before, it's all part of that same process. So it flows from one to the other to the other. And when you're done, you will have all the paperwork for the formation of the business. It'll come back to you in the form of a PDF. So you'll have the certificate of formation, the EIN number, which is a letter from the IRS, and also the business registration. A couple of things that are also new. There's a new requirement in 2024 by FinCEN, and that is now called the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. Depending on when the business was formed, if it was formed prior to 2024, you have 1 year to file this. If it's filed after January 1st of 2024, this year they allow 90 days after the registration of the business. And right now, starting in 2025, as far as we know, it will be within 30 days of forming the business. So this is that financial reporting over to the ownership information on there. That's coming through FinCEN. That's a new law that's just started this year. On the formation of a limited liability company, what do you need to have? First of all, you need to have a unique business name. One of the ways to check that is to check the availability of the name on the state site. One of the things also that I talk with my clients about, if you're going to be getting a URL, a website for your business, and you are looking to search for those names, if that name is available, I recommend searching and buying that name immediately. So whatever that is, the $15, $20, whatever the registration fee for a URL is, I would suggest doing that first. And this way you have that name tied up. And then also you can check on the state site for availability on there. So you have both of those pieces to look at, especially if you're forming a website. In addition to that, you'll need to have the employer identification process. That's through the IRS, and that is a free registration. And as I've mentioned before, when you do this through the state site, we'll actually link you over to get that EIN number and then bring you back over. They'll also ask you for the NAICS codes. That's the North American Industrial Classification System. That it's a classification number for every type of business in the United States. Also, they will ask you for an SIC code. That's the Standard Industrial Classification. The SIC codes were actually superseded by the NAICS codes, but the registration process still asks for the SIC code. Again, a link over on a website. And the third piece is the New Jersey industry codes. And as you register the business on the New Jersey state site, there's a link over to that, and it'll open up the New Jersey codes on there also. Most of that information for the NAICS codes, the SIC codes, and the New Jersey industry codes are typically for the federal and state entities, just letting them know what types of businesses are there. it doesn't tie you into a specific industry itself. Some people ask that question, like, if I only use this NAICS code, can I only do that? The answer is no, because you'll see that a lot of NAICS codes are similar for different parts of a business. And so because of that, you only will have one NAICS code when you register the business, but you probably would be using several as you're operating the business. In addition to that, you'll need a New Jersey registered agent. Typically, when we do the business registration process, that is the owner of the business, and it depends, and the cost depends on who you choose. In this situation, if you choose yourself, then there's no cost on that. If you're using an outside party to do that, again, we don't recommend doing that, but if you do use an outside party, they will charge you for being the registered agent. And one of the typical things that happens with the registered agent is that annual report fee. They send that information over to the registered agent, and then the registered agent would then file the annual report. Talk about the annual report in a little bit, but one of the things that we, again, ask that you do this and register it yourself, make yourself the registered agent, is to avoid that extra additional charge by these outside companies. The annual report, as I mentioned before, has a charge of $75 per year. Back to the costs again on there, depending on how you pay for this, the online processing fee is $125 to the state of New Jersey. That's done on the business formation part. And it's also, there's a $3.50 processing fee if you use a debit or a credit card. If you use an e-check, then the cost on that is $1. All right. So in addition to that, you'll need your name, your address of the business. Typically, most businesses will use the owner's home address to start with, but if you have a business address, you can certainly use that. You'll need your social security number and also the ownership percentage for all members if you're forming a multi-member LLC. So you need to know what that is, what the ownership percentages are. You'll also need the names, addresses, and social security number for each of the owners of the business itself. What else will you need to know? How will you be taxed? There's the tax question, of course. And I had mentioned before, if you're a single member LLC, that is a pass-through on the revenue to the owner's personal income tax returns, and that is typically done on the Schedule C for a single member LLC. If you are a multi-member LLC, you'll use a Form 1065. One caveat with the 1065 is that it must be filed by March 15th, not April 15th. So if you're a multi-member LLC, you need to file that 1065 before March 15th, and then it will give you what's called a K-1. A K-1 is similar to a W-2 if you work for another company on there. That K-1 is a statement of income for each of the individual owners, and that will go on the personal income tax returns of that owner over where we mentioned above on the Schedule C. It's an additional step in the business, but a lot of businesses have multi-members on the LLC side, and that's how you would report it. You could also choose to file as a corporation. This is filing form 1120. This would also occur when you're registering the business. When you get to the federal EIN area on there, as you're going through there, they will ask you that question. The state will also ask you the same question on there. Are you choosing to file as an 1120? If you do, that's, again, one of the reasons I had mentioned that before is a lot of LLC owners will say, gee, I would like to get a paycheck instead of taking a draw against profits. Typically, the way an LLC owner pays themselves is a draw against the profits. If you choose to want to have a regular paycheck, then you would be using the Form 1120 and choose to be taxed as a corporation. It's not an additional tax, it's just an additional process. All right. The next piece, sales tax. You need to know if your goods or services are subject to NJ sales tax, and if you are eligible to make exempt purchases. First part of that, the business that you're operating, does it have to collect sales tax? That depends on what types of products you're selling. Most service businesses, doctors, accountants, lawyers, consultants, are not subject to sales tax. If you're selling tangible goods, there are certain tangible goods that are subject to sales tax, other ones that are not. That's why we recommend getting this New Jersey SU4 brochure It has all the details about the sales tax, what's taxable, what's not taxable, and also the process of filing that sales tax. One other thing on the sales tax filing process, and when I work with my clients, when they get to that first time where they file the sales tax, they're not sure how to do that. They ask if they can schedule an appointment, and we walk them through the process of filing the sales tax on there if your business is subject to that. The next piece to that is, will you need to make exempt purchases? If you're a retailer selling a product to a consumer, and let me emphasize also on the sales tax, the last company to sell a product to the individual consumer is responsible for collecting sales tax. Businesses don't charge sales tax. They collect sales tax on behalf of the state of New Jersey. Again, important to emphasize, because sometimes you'll have a customer saying, gee, can you save me the sales tax? It's not your job to do that. Well, my response typically is to my clients is to say, I collect sales tax on behalf of the state of New Jersey. Now, that said, whoever sells that product to the ultimate consumer is responsible for collecting that sales tax. The next piece here about making eligible exempt purchases is that if you are buying from a wholesaler, manufacturer, whatever it is, and you're a retailer and you're reselling that product, then you need to let them know that you will be making an exempt purchase and that you will be collecting that sales tax to the ultimate consumer. That's usually done with a form. It's either an ST3 or an ST4, depending on which side of that. One of them is actually collecting sales tax. The other one is where the retailer might act as a wholesaler. And those two forms are important to have on there and to file it with your wholesaler. All right, so you want to know also if your business requires additional registrations, certifications, insurance thresholds, or worker compensations on there. So there might be some, depending on the type of business that you're in, additional registrations. Also, one of the other things to do is check with your town. Does your town have any registration requirements, any certifications, any fees attached to that? And then lastly, you want to identify a bank in which you will open up your business bank account. The company needs a separate business banking account as a limited liability company. Same thing with corporations. So let's look at the New Jersey's taxes and registrations. For business licenses and registrations, these are the links. I believe, Uzma, these are in the either the chat or in the postings on here on there. So if they are, those would be the pieces to look at. On the sales tax requirement, there's the link over, and there's the SU4 that I've mentioned before, the brochure there. On the income tax returns, for the state side, you want to go to the New Jersey Treasury taxation on there. If you're hiring employees, that is one of the questions in the registration process. It will say to you, will you be hiring employees? If you are initially, there will be a link over to the employee page on there. If you're not, then you just make note of what that form is. And then when you hire employees, you'll be using that form. You need to do the same thing with the IRS. If you're not familiar with that, but you do have an accountant, I would strongly suggest you speak with your accountant about that. They should know how to get those forms for you. And also, like I said before, if you have any additional questions, contact your local small business development center, and they can also help you in terms of at least getting those forms, and then you just need to file them with the state. What else do you need to start up the business? One of the first things that we look at is the startup cash. How much cash does it take to start up a business? That answer is it depends. It depends on what the business is. There's a big difference between starting a consulting business where you may just need a computer, a phone, a cell phone, and some office supplies, as opposed to either a retail business or a manufacturing business. So we would strongly suggest that you take one of the seminars on starting a business on there to understand where those are. In addition to that, we have business plan seminars, and we highly recommend that startup businesses also have a business plan written before you start the business up. From the SBDC standpoint, again, if you do take a business plan class and you do write a business plan, I know with our center there, we will do a business plan review with you. There is no charge for those services on the business plan review. So how much cash do you need? Depends on the type of business that you're starting the business with. In addition to that, you'll need operating cash needs also. And typically you want to have that for several months worth of cash on the side in case the business doesn't start up as quickly as you wanted it to on there. You have your personal budget considerations to take into account also. If you're a business owner, you're saying, gee, what is my income going to be? And that's one of the other pieces on there is the personal budget. And then you have other sources of capital. So capital would be money coming into the business. If you are going for a loan, one of the things that, again, that we ask our clients to do is check your personal credit score. Why? Because if you go to a bank for a loan or a lender, they are going to ask you probably to sign a personal guarantee on the loan side. That's extremely important. Almost every small business I work with, even some that are extremely large on the small business side, if they are going for a loan from a bank, the bank will ask them to sign a personal guarantee. That personal guarantee also, by the way, breaches that veil of liability that we had mentioned on the LLCs and the S corporations, because the banks understand those LLCs and the limited liability for the LLCs and the corporations. They want to make sure that they're repaid. So that's one of the reasons why your personal credit rating is extremely important. They're also going to be asking you, what are the owners investing in the business? So that would be the second piece. Typical if we go and you went and bought a house, the bank would, let's say, lend you 80%, and you would need to come up with the 20% on the owner's investment. Same thing would be happening on the small business loan. And again, this is where you want to have a conversation with your banker. On the basic financial statements, all businesses need to have basic financial statements. The first one is the income statement, otherwise known as a profit and loss statement. That statement gives us the information about the sales of the business, the expenses of the business, and then the profitability of the business. The balance sheet is a statement of ownership, what the business owns and what it owes, recorded as assets, again, things that the business owns, and the liabilities, any debt to the business, any money that's left over is known as retained earnings or owner's equity. The third financial statement is your cash flow statement. Cash flow is basically money in and money out of the business. It's an extremely important statement for small businesses. The reason being is that we want to make sure that you will be able to pay your bills and other things, but you also need to have enough revenue coming in, money coming in to satisfy that need. How would we suggest going about doing that? As a small business, you can do it a couple different ways. You certainly need to do your books and record keeping on there. You could keep a notebook. Some people keep a checkbook on there. That's fine. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. If you're familiar with Excel on there, you can go over to Excel. And if you're familiar with how to download a template, just go to the file, new. It'll expose you to templates on there, and just put in there that you're looking for an income statement, a balance sheet, a cash flow statement, and you'll see the Excel spreadsheets will have those templates for you that are available. So the next way to do that is to use a computer program. One of the programs that we look at is a program called QuickBooks. It's one of the more popular ones. It's been around for the longest amount of time. There are several different versions of that QuickBooks on there. There's QuickBooks Online, there's QuickBooks Desktops. QuickBooks now charges a subscription fee on a monthly or annual basis, so be aware that there is a fee attached to that on there. But QuickBooks is a very good books and record keeping system for small businesses, and also it's designed for non-accounting people. There, like I said before, are other business software products out in the marketplace, so certainly would suggest you to feel free to look at those and look at what they offer in terms of their reporting systems and also how they keep track books and records. QuickBooks also would act as a checkbook. You can balance your checkbooks inside QuickBooks. So there's a variety of things to use with that, depending on the level of sophistication that you're looking for. But certainly, these are the methods of doing that. And more likely than not, I certainly recommend to my clients either to use an accounting system of some sort of software or minimally the Excel spreadsheets, and then go over and use the templates that they're provided there. What else will you need? In addition to everything that I mentioned before, you will also, we recommend that you use an accountant on there to keep track of that, especially if you're forming a multi-member LLC on there, because you have several people that are owners of the business. I had mentioned before about the 1065 form that has to be filed on there, and accountants can certainly help you with that. You can fill them out yourself, you can do that yourself, but we highly recommend that speak with an accountant on that. It just simplifies the process. Yes, there's an additional cost, but at the same time, it is something to look at. Same thing with a lawyer on there. If you're forming a multi-member LLC, you need an operating agreement. That's an agreement between you and your partners on there. And there are a lot of pieces that are important about that. Sometimes we get people that form businesses that say, okay, I'm forming this business with my best friend. I've been friends with them since kindergarten. That's all well and good, but my recommendation is to have an operating agreement. Been doing this for a while, and I've had people that have come back afterwards and said, gee, you know what? Once we get into business, we're no longer friends, and now I either want to dissolve this business or I have other things on there. First thing I ask them is, do you have the operating agreement that I would recommend that you have? And a lot of times they didn't form one, which is a problem there. So speak with a lawyer, get an operating agreement. An insurance agent. You'll need to have certain types of insurance on there depending on the type of business that you're in. That's why you need to get a trusty insurance agent on there, a trustworthy one that can also steer you in the right direction about what type of insurance that your business will need. You might need a lender on there. The other piece would be, I'd mentioned before about having a bank account. Sometimes one of the other recommendations I make is if you're looking for a loan, you already have an established relationship with a bank, that you may want to speak to that bank first about a small business loan. You also would need a marketing and social media strategist. And again, speaking from our centers, we have marketing and social media consultants on staff. Typically, they'll work with a client after they have formed the business, created their social media on there. And the NJSBDC offers many marketing seminars and social media seminars on how to use the social media and marketing strategies on there. And then we'd also suggest that you have a business mentor. What are the next steps in here? Well, the other piece we had mentioned before on there is the state certifications. There are several different state certifications on there. One of them is called a Small Business Enterprise, the SBE certification. You have formed the business, that's all the legal components of it, but from the state standpoint, if you're a small business enterprise, what it does is going through the SBE process, then it would put you on the state bid list. There is a couple other certifications on there. There are minority and women-owned business enterprises, the WBE, MBE certifications on there. And again, those are done on the state sites. The easiest thing to do is just Google NJSBE for the small business enterprise. It'll pop up the application. If you're looking for a women minority-owned business on there, then you would do the MBE, WBE on there. Those applications are free. There used to be a charge for that, but because of COVID, the state waived the fee. So those applications are now free. And I suggest to my clients, again, that they actually file those certifications if they are appropriate. And that will help you, this again, with status and certifications. On the procurement and government side, Uzma had mentioned before about the SBA's website and a valuable resource there. You can go over to the SBA's website, look at their procurement sides on that. They also have procurement and government contracts. They also have the information about different types of classifications on there and applications for the different types of business and the people owning the businesses. You'll also, when over on the SBA site, you'll go through the lending process there. Typically, the SBA does not grant loans. What the SBA technically does is they become a cosigner on the loan. So if you go to a bank for a loan, a small business loan, they may go to the SBA, depending on which bank it is. Some of them are preferred lenders on there, and you may not realize you're getting an SBA loan, but it would be an SBA loan. And you even read on their sites that on the bank sites that says that the SBA basically guarantees the loan if you don't. So you're going through a certification process with the SBA. There is a guarantee on that from the SBA, but you would still be responsible to the SBA because they are, in essence, a co-signer on a loan. New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJEDA, valuable resource on there. I again recommend going to the NJEDA site, scroll down, and you'll see all the different programs that they have. There's several different types of programs. One of them is a loan program, the other one is grant program. So see if you qualify for either one of those. Thing that's important also is that grants are technically free money, which means that they aren't repaid. They're not like a loan. There are a lot of different grant programs that are out there, and NJEDA has a tremendous amount of those on their site, but grants come and go. So as soon as they allocate a certain amount of money for a certain type of grant, they open up the application process. I suggest that you apply immediately on there if you qualify. And once that money is used up on the grant side, it's used up. So that's the difference between a grant also and a loan. But the NJEDA site is a tremendous resource. The site link on that is njeda.gov. You also have the free educational programs through the NJSBDC. Those are also partially funded by the Small Business Administration. We have webinars like we're on today on there that are free educational programs. So you'll see some of those on there also. And sometimes, depending on the Small Business Development Center, which college it's located at, and all SBDCs are located on college campuses, there might be a charge for a seminar on the local SBDC because it's coming through the college and not through the SBDC itself. But the seminars that are on the SBDC type site, even at the college level, are taught by SBDC people. So you know you're getting somebody that's reliable and knowledgeable. And lastly, the NJSBDC remains as a resource for you, not only as you start the business, but we're also there as you grow the business. We love to see businesses grow. And so with that, we certainly would ask that you recommend that you keep in touch with your SBDCs on there. You go through a registration process, which means that you're saying you're looking for counseling. It's a request for counseling. And then once you're in the system, then there's a tremendous amount of resources depending on what type of assistance that you are looking for. If you're looking for more information on registrations, these are the QR codes on there. The top one will give you the startup. That's actually a link over to the request for counseling. So if you haven't registered before with the SBDCs, that would be the place that you would start. You put in a request for counseling, let them know what you're looking for, whether it's startup assistance, marketing assistance, business plan assistance, financial assistance, tremendous amounts of assistance that are available for you there on that site. That's the registration up on top. Underneath that, if you're already in business, then you will click on the lower link, and that one will give you all the resources for the NJSBDC, and then couple you up with the consultant. Okay. As I had mentioned before, we are here to support you on here. The NJSBDC has helped over 15,000 small businesses grow, and we certainly look forward to working with you on starting up your business, or if you're already in business, in helping your businesses grow. So again, I thank you very much on that, and I think we can. Uzma, I think we can open that up to questions now.
Yes, of course. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciated that amazing presentation. I hope our audience can find lots of good value. So before we jump right into the Q&A, let me just share a couple of reminders that we've already gone over. So this webinar is being recorded. It will be available in 1 to 2 business days, depending on our YouTube channel, as well as our NJSBDC.com website. If you go on YouTube, the links are shared, but if you just want to go on YouTube and type NJSBC webinars, it'll pop up. If not, then you can just go visit. If you'd like to receive the slides, the presentation that Paul just shared, you can receive it by completing the survey that I will share the link to once again. Once you complete that survey, it's a Google form survey. Once you hit submit, it will show you another page, and you can click on that link and it'll take you to Google Slides. All right, so if you're sharing questions in the chat, please put them in the Q&A so we can go over them with Paul. All right, Paul, we'll go over the questions in the order that we received them. I'm sure you can see them as well.
Okay.
So let me just go to the first one that we received from Zoe, apologies. And they ask, what's the process to get an EIN number?
Well, I mentioned in the seminar also, when you're registering the business, if you're doing the business registration process, it's one of the links over on the state site. It will immediately bring you over to the IRS site. If you're looking just to get an EIN number, you can go over to the IRS's website and just type in EIN number and you'll be able to get one that way. And this is a free process, by the way. We want to emphasize that.
Yep. Thank you for that. Next question is from Yvonne, who asked, my business was set up as a sole proprietary in 1995. How can I change that to LLC?
You would not actually change it. What you would actually do is just form the LLC. When you did it as a sole proprietorship, if you did an alternate name of some sort of trade name, I would check on the state site if that's available, and then just register it as an LLC. I think the only thing you might have, if you have an EIN number, you could check with the IRS. I don't know if they're transferable or not. They may not be, and you might need to get a new EIN number, which would be part of the registration process for the LLC.
All right. Lots of questions coming in. So let's go through them. I just want to remind you, Paul, it is 12:50.
Okay.
So we do have time until 1:30, but just a reminder. All right, so
Okay.
some questions, if they require in-depth, detailed answers, then I will recommend that you register with us. So go to njsbdc.com/startup. If you see me skipping those questions, our audience, if you see me skipping those questions or if your question doesn't get answered, apologies, but just to be respectful of Paul's time, everyone's time, we'll just feel free to reach out and then we'll do our best to set up an appointment with you. All right, next question from Khalif, who asked, I am registered with New Jersey. Please provide a link I can get to get a copy of my formation document.
That is a little bit more complex than it looks like.
Yep.
I would strongly suggest that you call the state on that one instead of trying to do that online. I don't believe you're going to be able to get that way. If you need the phone number, I can give it to you. It's area code 609-292-9292.
Do you have that memorized?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I can give you the sales tax one also. I've done a few of these.
Wait, seriously, applause for that. You have that memorized. That's amazing. All right, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your.
That's okay.
All right, next question, also from Khalif, who asked, I purchased goods from Indonesia and resell them to a company who is tax exempt. What documents do I need to file with the state yearly? Please advise. So we can address the latter part of the question.
Yeah, that's the one I had mentioned before, and I always get these two confused, and I apologize for that. It's either the ST3 or the ST4. Those ST stand for sales tax. One of them says, I'm a business, I'm purchasing from a wholesaler, I'll collect that sales tax. The other one says, I'm a business and I'm selling to another retailer who's collecting the sales tax. And I believe the ST3 is the one that you want, but I'm not 100% sure. I would download both of those and you'll see them on there.
Okay. And can you do me a favor, Paul, if you can just go in the chat and put in the number that you just mentioned.
The phone number?
Yes. Or if you want to say it out loud, and people need to have their pen and paper ready quickly.
Okay, I can do both of those. I'll post it in the chat on there. And also I will repeat it again. It's area codes 609-292. I'm typing as I'm doing the steps, by the way. 9292. That's the phone number. That would get you to the business registration people. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to share that with everyone because you sent it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's completely fine. That happens a lot in Zoom. And this is for what again?
That would be for the business registration people. It's technically, I believe it's the Department of Treasury,
Okay,
but that's who you would be asking for on that.
gotcha. All right, next question is from Crystal, business.nj.gov. Details how to start your business in the register your business section. Is that a good place to form your business, get the necessary EIN, and register for state taxes?
That's on the state website. Yes, that would be a good place to start. It'll say out there, do you want to start a business? You would click on that and then just go down a little bit and that'll say start the process here. It'll be a little oval. I would again suggest, if you're going to do that, contact us and we can walk you through that.
Of course. Next question, also from Crystal, who asked, I've read that as of January 2024, all new businesses must register with the FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Is this a difficult process?
It is not a difficult process. I have not filed one yet on this, but my understanding is it's a single page process on there. You could go to FinCEN and download the brochure. It's unfortunately 57 pages long, but it will walk you through that process on there. And my understanding is it's a pretty much a single page application on there. So you can do that way.
Got it. A little shameless plug-in right there, I will advise is that we on our website, when you go to events and webinars, I believe we did a webinar with a tax consultant, not our tax consultant, a CPA, Victor Garado, I believe. So if you go and look, I think we did it in February. So if you just scroll a little bit and look, I believe he covers that topic for 2024. So might want to look that up. All right, next question is from JJ Maroney, who asks, can you please give us the website for certifications again? Thanks. I can answer that, JJ. When you complete the brief survey for Google Forms, the link that we've shared, you will get these slides and all the websites that are mentioned on the slides here will be available to you. And they're hyperlinked, so you can just click on them, take you directly to the website. All right, next question is from Anonymous, who says, how can I register as a minority and or woman business enterprise, which you had mentioned, Paul? How can they do that?
The easiest way to do that is, again, it's if you just do a quick Google search, type in NJSBE. That's all you need to put in there. That's New Jersey Small Business Enterprise. Click on that. It'll bring you over to the state site and it'll give you the application. The SBE, relatively simple. It's a single page application. The MBEWB, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, Women Business Enterprise, is a little bit more complicated. They're going to be asking for some financials. I again will tell you, if you do get to that point, you downloaded that and you need assistance with that, please give the SBDCs a call. We actually have some people that are certified on the procurement side that understand that whole process, which is really what this application partially is. So contact us on that. But if you want to do it on your own, it's just Google NJ WBE MBE and Women Business Enterprise, Minority Business Enterprise, and you'll be able to download that application. Again, these are certifications.
Got it. And all right, next question from Shaniqua, who asks, I opened a business in 2021 and was not sure of tax filing fee of $75 each year. Now my business is revoked, and upon searching Google, someone else has my name now. If I reinstate my business, can I keep the same name? Should I rename it? How should they go about it?
You're hitting two separate issues there. One is the name of the business. If you are registered on the state of New Jersey, you could go back over to the state site and see, even though they revoked the name, if it's still available for you, or would it be turned over and available for anyone, so you can get it there. If somebody else did it somewhere else, that is probably not much you can do about it. One thing that also you need to understand is that all businesses are registered at the state level, not at the federal level. So there may be a business in another state with the same name as you. So that may happen also. So, and that's not unusual. So when you do that, that may be something that you're looking at when you did that Google search.
Got it. Next question is from Carolina. Oh, we answered that question. Okay. Uh, Kanta, apologies. What's the name of the websites for grants? Did we mention that somewhere?
Yeah, I did mention one of them. That's the NJEDA. That's
Yes.
njeda.gov. Excellent site, tremendous amount of resources, both on loans and grants on there. And you'll see the different types. That's only one of them. There's several other ones also.
Yep. They're one of our biggest and awesomest resource partners. Routinely we share press releases from them and we partner up with them for programs. So definitely check out their website. So that's answered. Next question is, Karen had asked, I had a SBDC mentor 2 years ago, but wasn't able to grow my business at that time. I am ready to start again. Can I get another mentor? I can take that question if you like, Paul.
Sure.
So your journey with us is always ongoing. It really depends on what you need and what your business needs are. So let's say you come in with one marketing issue at one point, like today you come in with a marketing issue and you just had one issue. So I help you with it, for example, and you're like, okay, that's perfect. That's all I needed. Thank you. And the case is done. We don't speak again. But let's say that 2 months later, 2 years later, you come back and say, hey, Uzma, I need help with something else now. Your client profile will still stay with us unless, specific circumstances happen. And we can certainly, so all you have to do is just either re-register or just reach out to the mentor that you had, or just go to our website and request counseling. Really easy. Ophelia, do you work with nonprofits?
Yes, we just started actually doing that. In the past, we only work with for-profits, but we do work with nonprofits now.
Got it. Next question, do you assist with grant applications from LaShonda?
Yeah, and that's another one where I contact your local center because different centers around the states have different types of consultants with them. Again, I work out of the Brookdale one, and I know that we would have people that work there, but I would contact your local center and ask them for assistance also.
Exactly. So whether it's grant, just please keep in mind that we cannot help with grant writing. I know that's applications are a little different. So with some extensive applications, you do need help with writing applications. As a federal funded organization, we cannot help with grant writing, but we can certainly guide you through the grant applications and anything else. Something that one of our consultants likes to say is that we assign homework and we can help you, but we cannot do the homework for you. All right, next question is from, it's from Lubna. Can I change my corporation to the LLC? Otherwise, how do I get rid of my corporation?
You don't get rid of the corporation. What you need to do is dissolve the corporation and reform the LLC if that's what you're looking to do. I would strongly suggest you do it both at the same time. You would send a letter over to the state on there, and what you want to do is, like I said, you don't want to lose the name. I'm assuming you want to keep the same name. So you dissolve the corporation and then you reform the LLC, and you want to do those at the same time so that you don't get your name taken on there, but you can't just switch them. All right, so it has to be dissolved and then reformed. So you dissolve the corporation, reform the LLC to an LLC.
Yep, got it. Thank you. Next question is, all right, we have a little detailed question. I am from Anonymous. I am going to skip that question for the reason that I mentioned earlier. Please request counseling with us and we will help you. So Anonymous, who asked the question of my friend and I are franchisee partners, please request counseling at njsbdc.com/startup. Next question is from Laura. I have a business that was previously a multi-member LLC. Now it is a single member LLC. Can I still declare S Corp status?
Yes. You would be doing that on that Form 1120 that I had mentioned.
Got it. Next question is from Karen, who says, I have an LLC. Can I change to a sole proprietorship without a new EIN, etc.?
You're hitting two separate areas there. One is you need to dissolve that LLC. The question of the EIN, remember during the process I had mentioned businesses are formed at the state level. The only thing you do at the federal level is the EIN number. You would need to contact the IRS on that. Suggest first question thing to do would be to call the IRS. No, I don't have that number memorized, but yes, I would call the IRS, go onto the IRS's website and call them. They'll give you the information about how to go about doing that. And can I continue to use my EIN with a sole proprietorship? The answer may be no, and the answer might also be that you just need to get a new EIN number.
Got it. Next question is from James, who asks, is there any rule in having a business with a similar name? For example, if 123 Invest is registered using Invest 123.
Okay, this on the state website, when you go to search the names, what it's going to say is either yes, you can, or no, you can't. It'll say there's a business name that's too close to yours, so you can't, or it may say yes, you can. So you won't know that until you actually go over to the state site. But one of the things we had mentioned back at the beginning of the seminar was to check the name for availability. I would do that first to see if that name is available.
Got it. All right. Next question. Okay, Lashonda asks, can you elaborate a little bit more on the LLC versus an S Corp? So I'm assuming they're asking about benefits, pros and cons, something like that.
Right. There's the difference between the two. In LLC, they were formed initially as partnerships. That's why you would have the multi-member LLCs. And then quite a few years ago, all the states adopted the single member LLC. So that was the first thing on there. An LLC versus an S or a corporation, an S corp would be that both of them, the similarities are that the ownership of the profits for the business are passed through to the owner's personal income tax returns on there. The difference between the corporation and the LLC is that a corporation has shareholders as its owners and the LLC has partners as its owners. So there's a difference in the ownership component on that side. And then again, the S Corp is taxed similar to an LLC in terms of its pass through. A C corporation is taxed separately. So a C corporation would pay its own income taxes. And then if there's any dividend that might be passed on to the owners, that is taxed again on that. Similar if you got a dividend from a stock that you owned in there. So those are the differences between them. It's a little more complicated than that. And again, I know we keep saying this, but contact the SBDCs and we'll walk you through there because there are some things to look at. And it goes deeper than just 2 minutes on the computer.
Got it. All right, 3 more questions and then we can wrap this up. There is a question or a statement on I want to get set up as an LGBTQ business. Any advice on that, Paul?
Yeah, that one on the state site, you can actually do that. That's a certification process. It's not a registration process. Again, we're dealing with 2 different areas here. So you would still be registering the business just like you would register any other business, but on the certification side, similar to the SBE, WBE, MBE, there's an LGBTQ plus application on there. And I'm not totally familiar with that. That's actually very, very new. So I would go to the state side on that.
Another shameless plug-in right over here that I want to do is that we are actually hosting workshops, a walkthrough workshops for the LGBTQ plus businesses. So if you are interested, please visit one of our, so it's on NJSBDC.com and statewide events. I will show the page later on if you have time, but there is one upcoming workshop in April, I believe. I'm not sure about the date and I'm not sure if it has been published yet, but please keep an eye out. And we do a walkthrough of it. Next question is from Anonymous. I think we've sort of covered this, but if you can just quickly go over it, Paul. How do you dissolve an
Yeah, the way it's a couple pieces of paperwork that need to be filed on there. Again, contact us. It'd be easier than trying to go through it on the webinar here. But if you went over to the state website and just said, I want to dissolve my business, and also if you're doing Google searches, be very careful that when you get a website link, it has .gov as its designator and not a .com. One of the things I didn't mention in there, and I should have, I had it in my notes, was that also when you register a business, you may be getting letters from some entity that has a Trenton address on it that says, gee, now you have to spend another $75 for this other form, blah, blah, blah. We see that all the time. What happens is that when you file a business, it's public records. They have access to that information. It looks very official. It looks like it's coming from the state. It is not. I usually tell everybody, get down to around the third or fourth paragraph and you'll see that it says this is not a government entity on there. And you basically tell them, take that piece of paper and just throw it away or shred it because it's got some valuable information on there on that. So that's number one. How do I dissolve an LLC? Again, I would suggest going to the state website. There is some paperwork process there. And again, contact us. We've helped people dissolve their LLCs also, and then walk you through the paperwork process.
Yep, and right on. I completely agree with that, Paul, about what you mentioned about third parties reaching out. Literally the first week of registering, and I was like, okay, I'm done registering. Within the first week, it's like you get tons of mails. It's just like, bombarding you. Anyway, yes, please be smart because the third parties, companies that are reaching out are very, very smart, and it's very easy to get scammed like that. So please be careful. Next question is from, and we'll take this last question. We have one more, so last two. Anything after, apologies, but please reach out to our website. Hayward, I'm sorry if your name is pronounced incorrectly. They ask, if my business is newly formed on March 8th, 2024, is the filing deadline of March, I think you meant April 15th, applied to my business?
Is it a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC, or is it a corporation? If it's an LLC, then the March 15th deadline would apply to it. If it's a single member LLC, I'm assuming you're talking about income taxes.
Yeah.
Then a single member LLC would be April 15th. But if it's a multi-member, it's not the income tax that's returned. The Form 1065 has to be filed by March 15th.
Yep. And today is March 19th.
Yeah. And if you missed it, unfortunately, they fine you for it too.
Yeah. Yep. Next question is from Laura, who says, what are your thoughts on setting up a parent company?
It depends on what you're looking to do and why you want to do this. One of the things I mentioned about, let's go back to an S Corp for a second. An S Corp can't own another company. All right. An LLC and a C corporation can own other companies. One of the things I also tell my clients is that LLC is a very popular designation. And if you don't believe that, go over to Google, do a Google search, but just go to the Google homepage, scroll down the bottom and see Google is an LLC that's owned by Alphabet. So corporations own LLCs. So it's a very popular designation on there. Major corporations, a lot of their subsidiaries are also LLCs. So you'll see that also. I don't know why, but one of the things I always tell my clients is I don't know why they do it, but if these major corporations know something, they probably know something we don't know. And so it's probably a pretty good designation.
Yep. And that concludes our Q&A session. So thank you, Paul, very much. I will just do my outro. So let me quickly share my screen. But yes, our audience, thank you so much for sticking with us for this long. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate your help. I really appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
What you see on your screen right now is njsbdc.com. That is our webpage. This is our homepage. The first thing that you see, we can help you small businesses grow. If you'd like to receive counseling, consulting, you have to put your email, select a county, which we can serve residents and business owners of New Jersey. So these are all going to be counties of New Jersey, and then you press counseling. You have to fill out a quick application. But anyway, I think our website is a great resource. We have a lot of information, events, resources, and data. If you have 5 minutes out of your day today, I recommend that you check it out. We have podcasts, blog posts, things like that. So two very important pages that I would say, among many others, but two very important. One of them is this. So go to events, NJ Thrive Small Business Webinars. This is the page that will come up on your screen. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of webinars on all sorts of topics. We've been doing this for the past, I think, 3-4 years. So, and then this pop-up happens, you should definitely put in your email and get newsletters in your inbox. A tip. And if you keep scrolling, this will keep going on and on and on all sorts of topics that you can see. So whether it's proposing winning SBIR, SCTR research projects that's related to the tech team that we have, innovation R&D related, unraveling cybersecurity myths for small businesses. Cybersecurity is a hot topic. You should definitely protect your small business. QuickBooks Online, Paul had mentioned this. We mentioned this in our presentation. How to register a business. So that's the webinar series, whether it's procurement opportunities. As Paul had mentioned, we have consultants who can help you with getting your certifications. So definitely check this out. Then the next and very similar page that we have is the statewide events page. Now this is where you go to find events and workshops happening throughout our entire network, so throughout the state of New Jersey. Just a reminder that we do counsel and offer webinars and events in Spanish as well. So if you need any counseling in Spanish, just let us know. Some on this page, you will see that some are online, some are in person, some require a minimal fee, some are free. And the topics vary. So veterans launching ventures, it's a module. So 1, 2, 3, getting your business certifications, SBE and MWBE certification, happening at WPU, a business plan, coach your team, marketing to small businesses, women-owned small business workshop, export resources with U.S. Department of Commerce. All right, different things. And with that, I will conclude showing our website, and I will take you to what is happening next. So upcoming webinar, Thursday, March 21st, which is this Thursday, celebrating Women's History Month. We are still in March. We're still celebrating Women's History Month. If you'd like to see our other webinars that we've done in honor of Women's History Month, just again, go back to that website I just showed. And on March 21st is enhancing your credit to build a strong financial foundation. Thursday, 12 to 1:30 p.m. And it's with one of our amazing consultants, a capital team consultant, Ozzy Lorenko. She's fabulous. So please attend if you can at the same time. Either scan that or go to the website that I just showed. And as Paul had mentioned, we've helped about 15,000 plus small businesses grow in the history of about 45, 46 years. And we are here to support you. So please come talk to us. Please make an appointment with us. We're happy to help. If things get lost in translation somehow, somewhere, we do get, hordes and hordes of requests. So if something gets lost along the way, you will be attended to one way or another. So thank you all for your great feedback. Please let us know if you have any feedback, and we look forward to helping you in your journey. So see you on Thursday. I will be hosting. I moderate the webinars. And Paul, again, thank you so much. Everyone, take care. I'm signing off. See you on Thursday. Bye.
Bye.